And we're live.
We did it.
Everyone's
Yay.
back.
Hooray!
Everyone's back from their travels. I was in LA. John, where were you?
On the road to Boston.
And Paul, where were you?
I just don't even want to talk about it. I can't.
Okay, all right. John, yeah, you did a road trip across the entire continent.
Yeah,
Just
oof,
about.
buddy. 40 hours of driving.
Oh,
Oh,
How was that? What are some highs? What were some
my
lows?
leg still hurts from it,
Okay.
so that's not a good sign.
So when did you like cross down into the States? Like how much was Canada? How much was
We took the mostly U.S. route, so we went to Saskatchewan, then we crossed the border into North Dakota into Minnesota into Wisconsin into, I forget which next. It's either Ohio or Illinois.
Illinois?
And
Ohio's actually I don't know.
yeah,
Actually, I don't know where Ohio is.
I don't
But
remember
I know
either.
Illinois is around there.
I think it was Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, Massachusetts. I think that's right. I don't know American geography, but
wow.
yeah, we went through like 8 states basically.
Where did you
was a long
spend the
trip.
nights? Where were the stops?
First one we stopped in a little place in Saskatchewan, which is about a half hour away from the border.
Oh, okay.
I forget the name of the place exactly. I'm going to be
Probably doesn't
blanking
matter.
some
It's
of the names.
Saskatchewan.
Yeah. The next night we had to call it early, so we stopped in Fargo, North Dakota,
Okay, cool.
and that was actually like a really big town. It was way bigger than I expected.
Okay.
Then we stopped. We were trying to make it to Chicago the next night, and I think one of our friends said, "Don't." I believe that was the takeaway.
I really liked Chicago when I visited it.
It was just like he's like, I live in like Indiana. He's just like, don't go there if you have like a computer full of stuff or a car full of stuff rather, unless you're in a specific part of
What?
town and they'll take you off the road and stuff like that. So we stopped outside of Chicago in a small place.
Okay.
Then we stopped in the little bit of Pennsylvania we had to drive through because I think the whole drive through Pennsylvania was like an hour, if even.
Okay.
And then we stopped in at Reese's parents' place.
Did you get to do
Nice.
anything in Boston?
Nope. We
So
got
you
in
just
late. We got in
turned
late, and I
around.
flew out the next day.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So Reese is still there, so she's
Yeah.
staying for a month, and then she's driving back. But
I was gonna say, did you get to do like any tourist stuff at any of these stops? Was like
not really. We were kind of a little close because I had the ticket already bought.
right.
But yeah, no, we got to. I think the longest time we spent was in Fargo, and that was just like we went out to a restaurant, went to Target, and just kind of looked around in the area.
Yeah, we have targets.
Well, no, because Reese was like, "Oh my God, Target, I gotta go." I'm like, "All right, you're gonna be in a town that has a bunch, but all right, let's go."
I mean, you guys had Target for like a year, if that
Yeah,
even.
and it kind of sucked. It was just a not as good Zellers.
Yep.
Yeah, which is saying a lot because Zellers was trash.
Yep.
Zellers was it was always so uncomfortable going to Zellers because it was like going into a Walmart that nobody else
Uncomfortable.
was in the building and everything was sad.
Yeah. True.
I have not put this much thought into what Target in Canada was like.
Yeah.
Or Walmart for that matter, I guess. But yeah.
I had a pretty wild and crazy trip, which we'll definitely get into more when we talk about what I've been playing in news. But yes, I drove down to LA. I didn't do 40 hours of driving, but
Good,
over the course of the week, I did probably 30 hours of driving. So I drove a lot.
Gross.
Damn. Did you have we had to deal with a thunderstorm, which is what stopped us early in Fargo. Like we saw 2 semis flipped. Like anything
jeez.
wild like that weather-wise where you were? Or?
No, weather was totally fine. I had a little bit of rain, but it would stop pretty quick. It was just because I was staying outside of LA, so every day would be like an hour and a half drive into downtown LA to go to the event, then drive back. Getting to
That's
Disneyland was pretty rough because that's a 3-hour drive. But actually, one of the events I went to was to go to Disneyland to see the new Disney's Illusion Island game, the platformer. And the ticket to go into the event was also a park pass that included like the Genie Plus thing where I could skip all the ride lines.
Nice.
So that was pretty great. So after I went and saw the game, I just like went on 2 rides and I just got to like walk past everyone. I felt like I was cheating. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, what else did I do? I did the Disney thing. I tried to go to the Mix, the Media Indie Exchange, but it got canceled while I was driving there.
Oh,
you
okay,
may
yeah.
have
No, my
Gerard
buddy
the
Gerard.
Completionist did
Yeah.
like a so
Gerard saved that whole event, or well, I guess saved it for the devs.
for the devs, yeah. So like I showed up at the event and then checked like my email and they canceled it like half an hour ago while I was on the freeway. And I just kind of walk into the event and people are like, rolling up posters and stuff. And some random guy's like, "Are you here for the event?" And I was like, "Yeah, the Mix. What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, guess what happened is the landlord that the Mix was working with for the venue, the landlord didn't have the right permits, so they had to close down.
Okay, that
There was
explains it
just
because
nothing
it
they
just
could
seemed
do."
like such a weird thing that was going
Yeah.
on. I didn't even hear the full story.
I had also heard that this isn't the first time that landlord has kind of screwed stuff up like this. So
Ooh.
yeah, so that was weird. The person's like, "I don't know, we got a bunch of like pizza if you want some," because they had like a bunch of food for the event. So I ate some pizza. Luckily, a friend of mine was at like another event for press, like 10 minutes away, and he's like, "Oh, I can get you into this one." That's where I met Ed Boon and took a picture with Ed Boon.
Nice.
So that was pretty exciting.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was cool. We didn't really like chat much. I just kind of said like when he in between him talking to people, I was like, "Hey, do you mind? I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan. Do you mind if I get a picture?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure. What's your name?" And I was like, "I'm like really looking forward to Mortal Kombat 1. Oh, thanks so much." So that was cool.
Nice.
What was that? So that would have been Thursday, Friday. Friday was play days, so that was like the main big event. It was way bigger than it was last year, and that was really fun and cool. And then Friday night was the Xbox party, which I was really hoping to get a picture with Phil Spencer, but I went to the Netflix party first, and by the time I got to the Xbox party, I saw Phil Spencer there, and he was talking to people, so I was just gonna like wait until I kind of saw him a little more separate or had some free time. And then I never saw him again. So he must have like just left like less than 10 minutes after I arrived. So I did not get a chance to meet Phil Spencer and get a picture, unfortunately. Saturday was also play days. Sunday was the Xbox event and the Final Fantasy XVI pre-launch event. And then Monday was the Ubisoft event, which I'll say, Ubisoft, least favorite event. The food that they gave, the complimentary food was kind of the worst. You had to pay for the food trucks, and you had to pay for parking. Everywhere else, it was like free parking and great food. But they don't got the Microsoft money. They don't got the whoever's sponsoring the Playdays. I will say about Playdays, they give you 2 meal tokens, and you can go up to the various food trucks they have there. Last year they gave you 4, so I'm just saying.
Food budget's going lower.
Well, it's also a much bigger event, so I can understand they probably spent a lot more. They invited a lot more people, so I got some pretty cool like swag. Most of it I'm just gonna give it away to people at the office, but some that I actually kept. I got like I guess the Xbox Fan Fest was happening at the same place as the showcase, so I got a jersey, an Xbox jersey that's pretty cool. I took a picture of it and I put it up on my Twitter, I think, so people can see that. I was walking past the Cyberpunk booth, and one of my friends that works the PR there, she's like, "Hey, do you like video game figurines?" I was like, yeah, I guess. Do you like big figurines? I was like, I don't know. What? Gives me this like foot tall statue of. Let me just grab it. I was gonna show it to you guys.
I saw the pictures on Twitter. It looked amazing, actually. It looked really good.
Yeah, it was cool looking.
Show and tell, baby. Take that, audio listeners.
Yeah.
This is also on
idiots.
my Twitter as well. If people need to see this, this thing's a little fragile. It's V driving his motorcycle into a dude while jumping off and shooting, and it looks so awesome.
That does look pretty rad.
So fucking cool, man. I was shocked when I took this out of the box. Put this aside for now. But yeah, anyways, we'll talk about that more when we're talking about what we've been playing and stuff. It was a cool trip. I was so tired by the end of it of driving. I'm so happy to be home. Just not doing anything.
I hear you on that. I hear you on that completely.
Paul, anything you want to talk about in your last week?
Nope.
Thanks for doing the show with Nathan. Thanks for Nathan for coming out.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a weird, wild one. That went on
You
for a
definitely
while.
did.
And Nathan was on it, so of course it was.
It
You
was
did a real long show.
It
which
was
I
a Nathan
surprised
show.
to see.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yep. I really wanted that one to be a short one too, because I had shit to do that night. But whatever. It was fun.
Oh,
It was fun. Always a blast talking with Nathan.
Okay, let's do the show tonight then. Top down perspective for June 15th. I'm Sean Booker.
And Paul Fleck.
John Wheeler.
And John, you're the only one who wrote something down, so what are you playing?
Actually, I basically played nothing the last 2 weeks other than like some Picross, but for stream we played through ActRaiser 2 for Super Nintendo.
Nice. Okay.
I wanted to just kind of beat my head against a hard video game, and that was a hard video game. But like in the weirdest way, like so it's a 14 stage game, and the hardest stages were the final one, like stage like 9 and stage 1.
Weird.
So
Okay.
we spent like an hour trying to get past just stage 1, and then the next stage we got past in like 20 minutes, and then the next stage we got past in like 4. Like it was like, it's not a game where you get stronger throughout the playthrough. You're the same level of strength in every stage except the final one. So it was just like suddenly like we were just cruising through for a while, and then we finished it this week when I got back to streaming, and I was stuck on stage 9 for like an hour and a half because just like they introduced a mini boss that was just kicking my ass. And then the final stage also took a while because each stage had a mini boss and an actual boss, and then the final 2 stages. The second last stage was a boss rush against the mini bosses, and the final stage was a boss rush against the regular bosses, or at least 7 of them, and the final boss. So you basically had to go through like this entire like 2 sets of gauntlets, and it was just ridiculous.
Wow.
But we beat it. We beat it on normal.
Nice.
There was a harder difficulty we could have done, but I wanted to, to not cry. So yeah, we beat it. We're playing through Xenoblade Chronicles Future Connected for game clearing now. We're going to finish that on Monday as well. That's going okay.
What is that?
That's the extra Xenoblade content that was put in the Definitive Edition. So every Xenoblade game basically has like a playable extra portion that they made. The 1 has Future Connected, 2 has Torna, and 3 has Future Redeemed. 1 so far, I don't care about the characters or story that they put into Future Connected.
Oh,
so
okay.
like we played through Xenoblade 1 in full on stream. We did the whole playthrough. It took like 9 months. I was like, okay, here's like my list of favorite characters. Here's my list of like least favorite characters. One of my least favorite characters was the main character, Shulk.
Okay.
And then like one of my middle of the ground main characters was Melia, and then those are the 2 they actually put in as playable. And then 2 of my characters I like the most, they gave their jobs to 2 characters, brand new characters they introduced, but they're just not nearly as interesting as those 2 characters. So I was like, oh, okay, well, you're really not winning me over with the playable characters on this.
Well, hopefully it's short.
Well, it's shorter. We are almost done. We did 2 full-length streams, and that's about 6 hours with like 4.5 hours of gameplay during them. 4 or 5, somewhere in that range. And people told me I'll probably finish it in about another 3 or 4 hours on Monday. So yeah, well, it's like 10 hours versus Xenoblade's like 80.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds all right.
Yeah, that's about it. Just all stream stuff.
Paul, did you play anything?
I mean, yeah, I played a lot of shit, but they're all demos, and I just don't care. They're all fine. The big one was Final Fantasy XVI demo, which got me super hyped for that game.
I played that as well. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Okay. I skipped all the story stuff because I didn't know that it would go over again. I was like, it's
literally just the first 2 chapters, isn't it, or something like that?
It is.
It's like actually the game.
Yeah, I didn't know that, so I skipped all the story stuff, and I'll just redo it.
No.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Okay.
Your
gonna say,
progress carries over from what I heard. Too.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yep.
If you I would assume if you skip the cutscenes, that demo is like 30 minutes long.
It's about an hour. Yeah.
An hour? Okay, because there's a lot of cutscenes in it.
There's a lot of cutscenes in it. Yeah. Yeah, that game mechanically is super fun though. I'm stoked to do that for probably like 20 to 60 hours or whatever it's going to be. I really like the combat.
I think I was told it's going to be around 40 for like kind of main
40
through it.
Okay.
And then obviously there'd be a lot more than that. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I was at the event there where they announced the demo coming out and stuff, so that was cool.
John, did they say anything about like you should play the demo? Like, does it unlock something in the main game other than just being your progress moving forward?
I don't think so. I did play through the demo. I don't remember them saying anything like that either.
I thought someone somewhere said it unlocks some fight in the full game.
I know if you play through the demo, you unlocked a second part of the demo, which is a fight.
Mm-hmm.
That is a fight that would have been later in that game, so you can play that fight early. But I don't think it unlocks anything in the game. You just get more demo. So maybe that's kind of what you heard.
Maybe, yeah, because like I was just gonna wait for the game to come out next week. And I'm just like,
exactly.
Do I want to play the demo?
I mean, I was like, this game's so long, I might as well get 2 hours out of the way now. Get through it. Like I said, an hour of that is just watching, so you can kind of have it on in the background.
Sure, yeah. That game's going to be really good, I feel.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I think it's just like an action game now. Like it's not turn-based at all. It is just, the combat is just action combat, so that's pretty great.
Feels good, too. I really liked it, yeah.
Well, it seems like they had a lot of like really good devs working on it. They had like, was it the Devil May Cry 5 combat leader? They had some Kingdom Hearts devs working on it. They had Platinum working on it.
Yeah.
It feels like those influences in that game, for sure. You can feel all of it. Like, it's very, very cool.
But I understand they only worked on, like, specific parts of it.
Sure.
So I don't know if we've touched anything that those devs have done. The way they made it sound at the opening keynote was that they did, like, sections of the game.
Gotcha.
Well, yeah, because there's, like, giant, like, summon fights and stuff like that, too.
Yeah, and you get to do that in
the demo.
At the end of this demo.
Yeah.
And honestly, it like from like a mechanic standpoint, those are probably like the least interesting because
from the spectacle, it's awesome. The spectacle is
like
fucking
they're
sick.
trying to make it like really flashy and they don't want you to fail. So it's just like it's borderline QuickTime event.
Yeah,
for the most part.
And it's very anime-ish of like them yelling at each other and story stuff happening with music swelling. Like it's very cool.
Absolutely,
it's still very good. It is mechanically the least interesting thing besides like the cutscenes, obviously.
I am curious when that comes out for them to kind of say like, hey, this company did this part, this company did this part, to try to see like, you can definitely tell, like, so.
Yeah, that thing was very cool. That got me. I was already hyped, but like, I feel like my purchase of a PlayStation was fine now. I was like, okay, yeah, no, this is great. This is
Astro didn't do it.
I mean, Astro came with it, so that was a nice topping. But this was the meat. I needed to make sure the meat was fresh, and it's very fresh.
Okay. All right, it's that PlayStation has to earn its rent, how much it's taking up in your part,
which is a lot.
Yeah,
by the way,
absolutely, it definitely is.
Big.
Yeah,
it's big.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. It just gets bigger
every time. Yep.
Every time. Yep. All right. Well, let's. I'm not going to run through everything I played. I figured I would kind of touch on it as we kind of go through the news, because the news will be a lot of Summer Game Fest stuff. So
yeah,
let's do some news. I basically just have like the live streams here. Did you guys watch any of the live streams? I know Paul, you watched a bunch of them.
I watched a bunch of them. Yeah.
John,
half of them happened while I was flying home.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I figured let's just kind of go through each of them. I just have like a list of what's announced. We don't have to talk about everything, but maybe let's just kind of go in a circle. If there was a game that kind of stood out to you, I'll probably mention the games I played.
Sure.
Or if you guys call it a game and I have some color to add to that, we can definitely do that. But starting with the Summer Game Fest, the stream, this was on Thursday, I believe.
Oh, these are in order too. That's cool.
Are they?
Yeah, this one is the one you linked here, Eurogamer.
Okay, some of them definitely won't be in order, but that's great to hear.
Yeah, this one.
Paul, why don't you start us off? What from the Summer Game Fest? What's a game that was of interest to you?
The big one that I kind of freaked out a little bit about was Path of Exile 2. Seeing any of that was awesome. I've been on the Diablo 4 kick and seen how like that game looks incredible. It's a little bit of gameplay, like it wasn't very long, but to see like that's coming along and it looks great. That was very exciting to see.
Okay. John, anything here of interest to you?
Obviously Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah.
Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown was a nice surprise. That looked pretty good from
That
the
was
extended
cool
play
looking.
I saw.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we should touch on both of those. I played Mortal Kombat 1.
Mm-hmm.
I also met Ed Boon. I'm not sure if you guys heard about that. I took a picture with him. It's on my Twitter.
I did hear about that.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 1, it feels just like Mortal Kombat. The cameo characters is like the big thing.
Yeah.
They had 4 playable characters there. Kenshi, Sub-Zero. Oh, and I can't remember the other ones.
Wow, Scorpion wasn't playable? Or Liu Kang?
I don't think Scorpion was there. And
Liu
then
Kang,
the
Kung
cameos they had
Lao.
was Jax,
Right.
Sonya, and the
And
Australian
Kano.
guy with the knives.
Kano.
Those were the 3 cameos you could choose. You could pair up anyone you wanted with anyone.
So was Johnny Cage not one of them too?
Johnny Cage is not one of them. I think it's
Okay.
currently undetermined if he is a cameo character or if he's playable or not yet.
Got you.
Oh, I thought I saw footage of him being playable.
Kenshi, Sub-Zero,
No,
Melina.
they've confirmed Johnny Cage is playable because of the whole thing with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
That could just be a skin for the cameo character.
Okay, so I didn't watch the full thing about it. Like, are cameo characters just like summons? Are they just
Yes.
assists like Marvel vs. Capcom?
Yes,
Yes,
that's
they are.
exactly
It's not
what
a
it is.
tag game. It is just you hit the right or left bumper, and they will come in and do an attack. If you hold down right and the right bumper or up in the right bumper, they'll do a different one. And you can like hold them and stuff. So for example, Kano has his like spinning move. You can hold him spinning and then launch it when you need to do it. So you can add it into your combos and whatnot. Versus like Sonya's like just default one is she kind of comes above and does like a laser attack. So you want to kind of do an uppercut on someone and then summon her in to continue that. They'll also come out during the fatalities. They'll come out during the whatever that like X-ray move thing when the health is real low. You hit both triggers. They'll add on to that as well. I think they have said that some of the cameos will be playable, but not all of them.
I mean, I'm watching the trailer here in this Eurogamer thread, and that looks like Johnny Cage.
Johnny Cage is 100% a playable character in this. Yeah, they showed him, but
I was gonna say,
but I don't think it's the Jean-Claude Van Damme. That might be a skin because it wasn't his
that
voice
is
in
just a
trailer.
cameo skin. Yeah,
It is a skin. I think they also got him to voice it.
Nice. Well, I mean, they had Stallone do his voicing. They had a stand-in that Arnold approved for him.
Yeah,
like they've gotten a lot of like those action characters, and they had RoboCop's voice actor do it and everything.
Okay,
the game looks fantastic. Like it looks really good.
It does look really nice. Yeah, I'm just like excited to see it. So it's basically the story-wise, it's like kind of Mortal Kombat remix. They're just kind of like pulling from whatever they want. Scorpion and Sub-Zero are brothers in this universe.
That's so weird.
Jax shows up without his arms, but he does have his ability to like grow into a skyscraper.
Okay.
All the 3 cameos they had, they're all using their like Mortal Kombat 1 outfits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so from what I saw, the little bit of the story trailer that they originally put out, like it looks like it's kind of a soft reboot, but also is connected to 10's story.
Yeah, because of how that
it's connected
ends.
to 10.
Well, because of what happens.
I still need to play through 10.
Yes.
Without spoilers.
You mean 11?
Yeah.
Sorry, right, because this is 12. So
this is the 12th one.
11 I need to play through.
11 has such a great story. Like that is such a fun single player. I need to do the Aftermath DLC. But Liu Kang becomes a fire god, and he resets the whole universe.
Yeah.
Liu Kang was in this, so he has like fire powers now.
Yeah,
and you saw him in
the god of this
trailer.
universe, which was in the trailer.
Yeah. I guess one thing that they had said is like this version of like Outworld is not going to be like a horrible wasteland like it always is. So
sure.
It definitely seems like they're just kind of like same puzzle pieces but mixing them around a bit.
I love it. That's perfect.
I'm gonna be sad though, because I really, really liked the last version of Johnny they did with the reboot. Like the 9, 10, 11 Johnny was probably my favorite iteration of that character.
Sure.
So,
well, I mean, these people know what they're doing. Like, so I don't know. I love that I'm going into this just so curious about the story for like a fighting game.
Sure. Yeah.
And so you mentioned Prince of Persia. Yeah, that came out of nowhere. I think this looks great.
Agreed. I think it looks great as well.
yeah.
I didn't get a chance to play this. This was at the Ubisoft event, but because it wasn't announced ahead of time, when they were doing appointments, there's also like mystery game here, and I was like, well, I don't know what the mystery game is, so I didn't book it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks great. They're going back to side scrolling. What's really cool, and they showed this at the Ubisoft stream, is there are time powers.
Yeah.
Where you'll use them like for puzzles or in fights. Like you kind of like set like a clone down, do something like go like past a door, make the door move, then warp back to your clone, and now you're on the other side of the door. And you can do that like in combat as well if you like think about it. Yeah, it looks pretty great. I'm also curious, where's the remake? Like they're doing a whole different Prince of Persia game.
That too.
Yeah.
I was curious about the fact that they mentioned like, or this might have just been in my buddy Gerard's like breakdown of it. You're not playing as the Prince of Persia. You're actually saving him.
Yeah, you're like an immortal. I think it's you're like one of like 7 immortals or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It just looks really good though. It's back to side scrolling. The movement seems pretty fun. So.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, I'm gonna pick a game that is of interest to me. Okay, so I played Sonic Superstars.
That game looks fantastic.
It's Sonic.
I love Sonic. I'm in.
Okay,
Say less.
Congrats.
That's kind of all it needed to be, honestly.
I guess not for me, but I basically was like,
did you like Sonic Mania?
I don't.
He doesn't like any Sonic game. There hasn't been a single one he's liked.
Yeah. So.
I understand they have the developers from Balan Wonderworld working on this.
Is Arzest, yeah. Because apparently the creator of Sonic, that's his company.
He's also like in jail now.
Yep.
No, that's Yuzo Koshiro.
Yes, that's
Or sorry.
Yeah.
I think I named the wrong name.
I'm pretty sure the creator of Sonic, he's not in jail, but he's like being sentenced, isn't he?
Yuji Naka. There we go. That's
Yuji Naka. Yeah.
Anyways, I think it looks fine. I'm curious how so it has 4-player co-op.
Yep.
It doesn't seem like, I know you've been able to play as Tails in the past, but it's like, is someone just gonna be like falling behind the whole time? Like this thing goes fast.
They're all the same speed, so.
I guess, but even still, like when I'm playing, I was like, I don't really know what's happening. I'm just holding right, and we'll see where I end up. Oh, I hit some spikes. Well, that's Sonic.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm sure Sonic people will be into it. I'll say that. So.
Yeah, it looks good. It's just people were a little sad, but I don't think they should be surprised that the co-op is offline only.
Actually, Phantom Ages in the chat makes a good point. The murder of Sonic the Hedgehog might be my favorite Sonic thing ever.
Yeah, because it's the least Sonic game.
Yeah, and in fact, those mini games in there are the worst part.
I mean, they definitely are. They're very bad.
To be fair, you're correct. They are in fact bad.
Yes, they are.
Okay, Paul, back to you. Is there anything else you want to call it?
Liza P released a demo, and that thing was maybe too long because I just want to play that full game and not be stopped. That demo was 2 hours, and I stopped by my own accord. I played 2 hours of that demo. So
it's bad?
No, it's very good, but I was like, I just want this game. I don't want to put in 2 hours to do the same 2 hours again. Like,
I mean, to be fair, you're not the audience for a demo at that point, if you've already signed on.
Yeah, I was already signed on. That game is Bloodborne. So if that sounds interesting to you, it should be on your list.
Okay. John, you want to call anything else up?
I'm like skimming in here, and I don't really see anything else that really jumped out at me.
I can go then. Alan Wake 2. They had this at Summer Games Fest.
Yeah.
Not playable. They had it was a hands-off demo. It was like they were allowing people to like hold the controller and confirm you can move around if you needed that for like judging purposes to see that it's not just like a video or whatever. But it was a hands-off demo. We watched probably 45 minutes or so of this. This game looks so good.
I was gonna ask you, does it look too scary for you?
It looks scary.
That little bit that they showed, I was like, This is scarier than like a bunch of things I've played recently. So
So what happens in this one? This was also the game that like pretty much everyone was like, "Hey, what was like your game of the show? What was like the coolest thing you saw?" Everyone was like, it was like Alan Wake, and then Mortal Kombat 1 was like number 2. Yeah, they showed kind of an early section of it where you were playing as Saga. I guess throughout the entire game, you would just get to, whenever you want, switch back and forth between playing as Saga or playing as Alan in the Dark Place.
yeah, that's so
there's
cool.
like there's two campaigns happening somewhat simultaneously, and they didn't talk about it too much, but you kind of got the impression that if you played just one person's, eventually you'll kind of hit a wall, and it's like, hey, you need to progress some of the other person's story before you can continue on.
Interesting, because in that stream they said something about if you want, you could beat the game as one of them, like without touching the other.
Maybe that's the case then,
which is crazy. That doesn't seem real.
They didn't talk about it too much. They didn't talk much about Alan's thing. They just showed Saga's stuff.
Okay.
The end of this demo actually has Alan washing up on the shore, and Saga finds her, and he's been missing for 13 years, which Alan Wake 1 did come out 13 years ago, and I just kind of love when they do that.
That's really good. Yeah.
Yep. Saga has a mind palace where at any point in the game you can go into her mind, Sherlock Holmes style, and it's like a lodge room where you have like corkboard with like the pictures and the string on it as you're piecing the stuff. Like it's very detective heavy as well. That's really cool. They brought back the light and dark combat from Alan 1 where you have to like put the flashlight on the person to kind of like break their shield before you can shoot them. And it just looks like the visuals are super nice. Like I am very excited for Alan Wake 2. Absolutely.
It looks very good. I agree.
Paul, another game? Space
Marine 2. That thing looks great. Co-op campaign. Just give it to me already. I want it.
Okay. Okay. John, if you want to jump in, it's fine. Yep. Otherwise, I can keep going.
7 Rebirth. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth.
Yeah, man. Yep.
Yeah. That was pretty exciting. It looks great, I think.
2 discs.
2 discs?
Why are we surprised at 2 discs? It's Square. Right. They're pretty much the company that started the 3-disc trend.
And this is going to be the one that's big and open world, so it makes sense. Yeah.
I guess it's like almost like I just didn't think we needed to do that anymore when we got Blu-ray discs.
I mean, to be fair, 7 Remake was 2 discs because they had an install disc.
Oh, did they? I mean, I don't buy physical discs anymore, so it's like doesn't even matter really.
Remake was 2 discs. They had you like 1 disc was just for installing, and then the other one ran the data. So I guess this time around they're just like, yeah, fuck it, let's just do it. We can't just hide it like that anymore.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that looks really good. I'm excited for it. I think that's the end of this year? Is that right?
24. No, that's next year.
Oh, it's 2024.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Can't believe we went this far without shouting out the sneak peek of Twisted Metal.
Oh yeah, I want to look at the trailer for that.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
It's so fucking bad. Holy crap.
Holy smokes. Okay, my real one, Lisfanga. This is a game getting published by Quantic Dreams. If you remember Super Time Force, it's kind of like that, but for a top-down beat-em-up. So you will enter these combat arenas. You have 15 seconds to defeat it, but there's too many enemies on screen, and there will be enemies where it's like you have to kill them both at the same time for them to die. So you'll play like a 15-second bout of you killing as many as you can, then the thing restarts. Then you go a different direction in the combat arena, and now you have a clone playing the first 15 that you just did, and now you're doing something else. And you get a set number of clones. It's like, can you beat this combat arena with 7 clones? So by the end of it, you have like 7 of you going through the arena, trying to finish off things in the right order. There's like walls that you have to open with one person to let another person get through on the other side. I'm very curious to see just how the puzzle aspect of these things will continue, because they were throwing a lot at the beginning, and I hope they have a lot more ideas. It was a pretty cool one.
Sure. Okay. Cool. I'm trying to remember what it was called. Here it is. We saw some like a little bit of gameplay of Banisher's Ghost of the New Eden World, which is, I believe, the next Don't Nod one. That weird one where like you're playing a ghost hunter or something with like a ghost wife or something.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Okay. That was not anywhere on the show floor or anything, but okay.
They showed this, like a trailer for this, and I was kind of wondering what the hell it was. and it seems like it's going to be a third-person type game of some sort with, like, of course, decision-making in the story and all that stuff. It looked pretty neat, though. I was stoked to see a little actual gameplay happen in that trailer or the thing they showed.
Anything for you, John?
From Summer Game Fest, I think that pretty much was it.
What about that?
One more,
like a Dragon Gaiden? Did you?
Oh yeah, well,
yeah,
but like they said, it's also not doing physical; it's digital only. So I'm like, eh.
Gotcha.
But I'm also super behind on the series. Like this is literally a tie-in. Like this is basically a stopgap between 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm somewhere in 3.
The last one I want to call out is Immortals of Avium. This game is pretty cool. It's basically like Doom, but you have magic powers instead of guns. But the magic powers just feel like guns. Like you basically have a shotgun blast, you have like an assault rifle kind of one, a machine gun. This one feels really good. That was kind of thing that everyone was saying, that the combat like feels really fun. It also looks really good. Like the facial capture on these actors looks really nice. So like I feel like no one's talking about this thing. It's getting published by EA, but I think it's worth paying attention to. This one was pretty cool looking.
This presentation actually made me care more about it. Like I thought it looked pretty cool from this, because they had shown a little bit of it before and I was so not interested, but I think I want to check this one out now.
I didn't even know about it, and then I saw the trailer for it at the thing, and I was like, okay, some guy has been emailing me about this. I'm going to actually respond to his emails.
yeah. For sure.
Okay,
it's one of those.
Let's do Devolver real quick. They only showed a few games, but there are a few that we have to talk about.
Oh, okay.
And let's see if you can guess the one, Paul.
The one that we have to talk about?
Yeah.
It's probably Shadows of the Dam remastered.
It's not, but that wasn't at this anyway.
Oh, I thought this was a Devolver.
I
did not watch this.
It was dropped on Twitter. That and then shown later.
You should watch. I mean, it's a Devolver one. Like, it's weird. You should watch the Devolver streams. They're always super funny.
Here's the thing about Devolver, is that I always like the dumb little movie. I couldn't care less about the games that they show, because, like, I'll pick them up, but...
We need to talk about Baby Steps. This is by...
I thought this looked terrible. Okay.
And the developers of Ape Out.
Yeah.
And it's a walking simulator with the co-op physics, but there's actually, like, a story going on.
What?
So...
You had me when you said the Ape Out devs, and then I was like, wait, Bennett Foddy.
Yeah. I'm going to be the one that everybody hates here, I guess. I'm sick of fucking streamer bait, YouTube bait shit, and this is one of those, so fuck this game. I don't care.
It just feels like they took QWOP and actually put money behind it.
Yeah, they did that so that they would get giant streamers to play it and make huge amount of money, because it's silly, and it just looks super uninteresting.
I think it looks funny. So
okay.
So was there anything else from the stream that stood out to you? There's only 5 games here.
The big hand to play games with.
Okay, yeah. Again, you should watch the Devolver stream. That thing was very funny.
Yeah,
as it always is.
I've been following Devolver on Twitter for a while, so they kept tweeting about the return of Volvi, and everyone kept showing off their giant hands. I'm like, okay, this is
to play games with.
To play games with, yeah. That thing's only 20 minutes.
Out of this list, Wizard with a Gun's one I've been waiting for a while.
Okay.
Sure, yeah.
I'll obviously play Human Fall Flat 2. I'm actually kind of surprised they're making a second one, because they just kept making levels for that thing and putting them out.
Yeah, Human Fall Flat 2, I'm sure it'll be great.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of curious what a Human Fall Flat 2 would be.
Right.
Because I'm sure they've learned so much making that first game.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do the Xbox stream. This was like the next biggest one.
Sure.
People seemed really excited coming out of this showcase, which
I thought it was okay.
Good to see.
Yeah, it was okay.
This one is definitely not in order.
It is not.
But John, do you want to call our game out?
You're gonna have to give me a second, because there was one but I cannot for the life of me remember the name of the game.
Fable.
No.
Okay.
It was the Atlas one that wasn't leaked. Yeah, there we go. Metaphor ReFantasio. That one looked interesting.
Mm-hmm. It did. I was interested in that too.
There was a couple Atlas things in here, wasn't there?
Yeah, because here's the thing. There was a bunch of Persona announcements. They got leaked by Atlas's social media manager by accident, which apparently has been fired, because, they also leaked the Persona 3 remake. and
Wait,
Persona
really?
5
They got
Tactics.
fired? Like, that's an honest mistake.
Well, we don't know if they were, but the people saw on Atlas's like job listings the next day they were looking for a social media manager. So I have a
Oh.
feeling someone was let go.
Sad.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, those looked interesting, but they got leaked early.
I want to call out 33 Immortals.
Yes.
This is the next game from the Spiritfarer team.
From Thunder
and
Lotus.
It is a... Sorry, what was that?
Thunder Lotus, I believe, is their
Thunder
name.
Lotus, yes, that's the developer's name. It is a like hack and slash beat 'em up that can go up to 33 players co-op.
Yeah.
This seems cool. I think visually it looks a lot like Hades.
Sure. Yeah.
But I don't know, something about 33 people playing like what might be Hades, like a Hades clone together all at once, just sounds very exciting to me.
Did you watch any of the stuff of them talking about the game and like diving into a little bit more about it? It was on the extended.
That wasn't on Sunday, right? That was like
it was in the extended.
I did not watch the extended.
Okay,
no.
So it's based on the Divine Comedy, Dante's Inferno, which is why there's 33 players or whatever, because 33 chapters or whatever. So that's what it's based
I just assumed
on.
They were like, what can our tech do? What's the most people we can get in here? And it's like, well, technically we can get 33. All right, that's the name of the game.
No, they just thought it was cool to be like, to have that like synergy with it or whatever. And also they didn't have enough people apparently when they were making the game to test it. So they like just got a bunch more people in the office because they didn't have 33 devs to like actually try all that.
That's not surprising. Okay,
which is hilarious. I just love that little tidbit.
Paul, do you have a game?
I'm trying to find one that had actual gameplay. It's pretty exciting to see that Payday 3 is actually still coming and a thing and like basically here. So that was kind of neat. That looks like Payday 2 and a new engine, so that's great. I'm glad.
How about you, John?
Yakuza like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Forgot there's no Yakuza anymore.
This is 8, right? This is like the actual next one where he wakes up on the beach.
Wakes up naked on a beach in somewhere in America.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Absolutely. The fact that there's like 2 of them coming out. Oh my god, there's so much Yakuza. Like, how do you catch up if that's like not the only game you're playing?
Right.
Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. This is the new expansion coming. This was one of my highlights of Playdays. This looks so good. So they are kind of redoing all of Cyberpunk. They're changing the skill tree, the combat. The writing is real great. This is the one that is introducing Idris Elba into it as well. In terms of like my Playday stuff, it's like Alan Wake 2, Mortal Kombat, Cyberpunk were like the top 3 things I played. I've been looking for a reason to like go back to Cyberpunk because I just like mainlined the story, but I keep hearing they keep fixing and fixing and fixing it. This is definitely what I'm going to go back to, like the reason for that. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I'm still an apologist for Cyberpunk, even though I know it was garbage. I played that whole game 100%, so I love it. I'm ready to go back.
You're gonna like this. Like
I'm so excited. Yeah, it looked very, very cool. Okay, I get like there's the obvious ones. Let me find one that isn't as obvious, maybe. I kind of want to see more of what this Path of the Goddess is, the Kinitsumigami or whatever. The new Capcom game. And I was disappointed because Capcom, in the way they always disappoint me in all of their fucking streams and shit that they do, didn't show more than what they showed here. So I was kind of hoping that they would announce it here and like I would tune into that live stream and maybe they would give me 5 minutes of what it actually was, but they didn't. So I want to see more of that.
John?
I'm like skimming again.
I can go again.
Go for it.
There was no gameplay, but I'm very curious what South of Midnight is.
Same.
That trailer had vibes. This is from We Happy Few developers. And yeah, I don't know. It was just a fun trailer. This is the one where they're like the guy's playing his guitar and then like a sea creature comes out and it has a really nice art style.
Got really Double Fine vibes from that one. Like this could be a Double Fine game the way this vibe is. I liked it a lot.
I could see that. Like a really like with a lot of money behind it, Double Fine Games.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul.
Okay, yeah. Another one for me, before we get to the obvious ones, I guess. Still Wakes the Deep. Give me a horror in a weird, like, sea tanker thing. That seems awesome.
Sure. Okay.
Yep, Persona 3 Reload.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
nice to see that redone.
That looks
I was
great.
seeing people upset that the Fez content won't be in it.
Yeah, so this is a weird thing, and depending on who you ask, it's either a good thing or a bad thing. Persona 3 has been re-released like in the 3 different versions now to this point. There's the normal, FES, and Persona 3 Portable. The version that got on the Switch and all the other systems recently was Portable.
Yeah.
Portable added a female playable character,
Right.
and basically redid all the dialogue if you play as her instead, but removed all the actual animated cutscenes. Persona 3 FES added an extra chapter, an extra prologue called For Answer, which apparently a lot of people did not like. But it had all the cutscenes, didn't have the FemC stuff. And then 3 was just 3. This is apparently, as it is being currently discussed, is just a remake of the vanilla game.
Yeah.
So
Weird.
some people are upset, and
Right.
some people are like, and it's honestly for the best.
I just don't get why you wouldn't put everything in. Like,
That's why a lot of people complain. Is like, why not make the definitive edition with everything in there? I get why FemC is not in there, because you have to redo the dialogue and the cutscenes twice. So basically, you make the game twice. So I get why she got cut, but For Answer is a little surprising.
I'm gonna call out Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah, I didn't know if we were going to talk about it here or the next thing with Ubisoft where they kind of dived into it more. But yeah, of course, it got me excited to see what that was.
This, I feel like, was one of like the biggest surprises of the week, and like
Yeah.
everyone's kind of losing their mind. They definitely showed like actual gameplay at the Ubisoft one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks real good. Like you're like a bounty hunter or like a smuggler, I guess, more specifically. You know, I'm a big Star Wars Jedi fan. This seems kind of like that again, but with more pistol fighting, and there's like space combat as well. So they're doing that. Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, it does.
This is the open world one that's been teased for a while,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And it's been done by Massive, the Division developers.
Yep. I mean, okay, I'll just say it then. Starfield looks like it might be one of the most ambitious, impressive things if it's pulled off correctly, the way they show.
Yeah,
it's
like,
crazy.
Holy shit!
I kind of don't believe it, honestly.
I keep looking at this and I'm just like, they're just trying to like Zelda is like a huge surprise what they pulled off with that, and it's like Bethesda's like, okay, now it's our turn to make like the air game, like the final game. Here we go. And I'm so curious because like Bethesda games come in hot. They're so buggy. This one has had like twice as long of development time as the typical Bethesda game. I also get the vibe kind of that like Xbox is like going all in. They're like,
Yeah, so
this has to do it.
Yes.
there were articles that were going out. Apparently, Xbox is the reason, Microsoft's the reason they took so long working on Starfield, and apparently, like the entire all of the Q&A testers they have, Microsoft is working on this with Bethesda's team too. So
Not
like,
surprised. Absolutely,
they've got
not
like
surprised.
a crazy amount of people working on this.
I mean, like they
it looks
should.
incredible.
Like, it looks so like just ambitious. Like
Yeah.
that Starfield direct 40 minutes of just like, oh yeah, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Like you could skip the entire story and still have like so much to do. There's so much in this. Base building, ship building, space combat. Like, yeah. It looks crazy. And also like, I'm just gonna get it on Game Pass. Like, that's great.
Yeah. Man, like, again, I don't even know why I don't really believe it, because a lot of the systems and stuff they're doing, we've seen No Man's Sky do similar things with a less budget, team, time, and everything. So, like, of course, Bethesda theoretically should be able to do a bigger version of that, right? But
This is going to be like,
I don't get,
like
I
a
don't
bigger
believe it.
No Man's Sky with an entire Bethesda RPG in there as well.
And for some reason, it doesn't I can't process it. I just am wondering, like, oh, this isn't going to run, right? Like, I'm gonna start it up and like it's gonna not like work properly. The ships are gonna fly backwards, like all of the stuff.
It'll be a Cyberpunk again or something.
Yeah, exactly. Because Bethesda don't have a great track record of putting out a stable product, especially around launch window. So
yeah.
This is also the first Bethesda release since they got bought, isn't it? Like the first like core Bethesda team.
Yeah, with a lot of money behind them. 76 was 2015.
Okay, I don't remember when they got bought.
I think 76 was like right before they got bought.
Okay.
That's likely. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I was looking it up. This is the first major like actual Bethesda game since Fallout 4, which was what, 20, that might have been 2015 actually, like 7 years.
That was 2015 because that was 8 years ago. That's what I'm saying is this is the longest development time they've had on a game.
76 was 17 or 18. Confirmation in the chat. So sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's exciting.
We'll see. This is also coming out in September. September and October this year are fucked.
Dude, this year is gone. Like, I'm already
How
sure.
come there's been so many good releases so far this year, and it's like it's not slowing down?
I'm pretty sure
like,
I have a
even
top 10 ready to go, and like some of the biggest games haven't even come out yet.
We're not in the big. September and October are the big months this year, and yeah, like holy smokes, this is a year to remember. Absolutely.
Does that mean next year's gonna suck? It's like, yeah, we
next
blew
year is
it
gonna
all.
suck.
No, because a lot of these games on the stream were all 2014.
You're right. They
that's
were.
True. 2024.
Yeah.
I feel like we got like a couple years of like lulls with the pandemic, and now it's like people kind of figured it out.
Yeah,
games
I guess
got delayed.
So we're at a pandemic lull, but like also finally the devs kind of got comfy with the current gen systems. It feels like it's taken a while for the studios to kind of like do anything with them.
I mean, that happens with every generation.
Yeah,
right?
but like COVID and everything like slowed it down even more. Like this generation's been going on for what, like 3-4 years, and it still feels like it's dragging.
We're on 2020 they came out. So I did just see recently, I think this was announced today or yesterday, Xbox came out and said that they are no longer making Xbox One games except for games that need like kind of ongoing support like Minecraft and stuff. Right. All their internal studios are working on games that are like only coming out on the new consoles.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Yeah, like we said, it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
Before we move on quickly, there's no gameplay. We don't really know much about it, but the tone of the Fable thing was great. That's the perfect tone.
It was funny. I think it. I mean, they did say it's in engine at the very least. We didn't get gameplay, but in engine, it looks really good. And I'm glad to see the jokes still there and whatnot. So
totally.
It was just great to see it again because it's been so long since they like talked about Fable.
Yeah.
Because the last one was that one they were the asynchronous multiplayer game, right? And then did that even come out?
I don't know. What,
Fable Legends or whatever it was going to call it? Yeah.
That came out. Wasn't there also a Connect, or was that Fable Legends?
Fable the Journey, I think, was the Connect one.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Microsoft canceled the game on March 7th, 2016. Servers shut down April 13th. So it
did come out.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ubisoft, there's not much to talk about here that we haven't talked about. They showed a bunch of the Avatar game, which turns out it's just Far Cry.
But like pretty.
Blue people?
Every time it went to like shooting dudes and mechs and stuff, I was like, oh, this is super uninteresting. But walking around that world and stuff is like, okay, that's kind of cool. At least it's nice looking.
Yeah, I don't really have much to call out that we haven't talked about for Ubisoft. But if you guys do,
like, what else did they have? Sorry, I'm just scrolling right now.
Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix, new Netflix show.
Yeah, that
Skull and Bones. They had some guys come out and sing a song about it.
That song was pretty good. I'm pretty sure that game doesn't exist and never will.
And the only other thing that we haven't talked about was Crew Motorfest.
Wow, what a terrible fucking presentation. But they had Star Wars, so
they had a bunch of Star Wars. They had Prince of Persia as well. So I mean, keep in mind it is like the only publisher who did an event for the most part, like a sizable event. But yeah,
good for them.
Yeah. Anyways, some exciting games coming out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I played this week that we didn't really talk about. From Annapurna, Cocoon is a really cool game that I liked quite a bit. I got to play Viewfinder, which I'm also very excited for. That comes out in July. Another Annapurna game. There's a demo already out on PlayStation and Steam for that. Oh, was there anything else?
Lineback, that Rayman thing was the DLC for Mario vs. Rabbids. That was announced a while ago.
Yeah,
it's
true. Disney Illusion Island I think that's from the Rayman. No. The Rayman Origins team is doing something that I was interested in, but I can't remember what game it is. Totally blanking on it. I'll look it up in a minute. Anyways, that was pretty much the news of the last week. So let's do some questions. If you want to send a question in, topdownperspective@gmail.com, @TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. As you see, it's real and it's deadly. Paul, would you like to start us off?
I still have to meet up with Paul at some point to give him.
We'll have to meet up at some point.
People saying that the Rayman Origins team is doing Prince of Persia.
Well, perfect then. Hell yeah. Yep,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. We have episode titles. And, okay. I thought there was like pages of this. There's only a few actually, so it's not going to take too long. Okay. Starting from March 23rd. You should read more shit. And I know exactly what this is. I remember this.
I have no idea.
This is John started reading Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles around this time because.
Did he say this?
Well, I think we were talking about the comics or whatever, and yeah, I think he said like I should read more shit or something, something like this.
Okay.
Anyway. Context.
Makes sense.
There was an announcement regarding the upcoming adaptation of TMNT: The Last Ronin. Right. Okay. Which happened coincidentally soon after you finished reading it. Okay, that's why.
I finished reading it recently. Yeah.
Yeah, I read it in February. Okay. Sean read it in March, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yes, that was the thing. March 30th. Okay, I know this one too already. No aiming a knife or grenade toward the sky in certain areas to lower the camera at low angles to catch a glimpse of Ashley's panties. This is an angry Steam review of Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Yeah, yes, I remember asking because it's a bad remake because it didn't have all these things in it.
Context. One of the many complaints from Steam review of Resident Evil 4 Remake that Sean read live in response to Paul having started playing it. In case you were wondering, the rest of the complaints follow a similar pattern. He did give an alternative title, probably because he knew we would get this immediately. The alternative title was War Blood, Blood and the Dead, and I actually know what this is too.
Yeah, I remember this one as well. Do you, John?
No.
This was the make a video game name out of your name.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I don't remember whose name this was though.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I wasn't there for that episode. Though.
He wasn't here for this one. Yeah.
Oh, was you not?
No.
I got asked to do this later, and I put it in I think it was the next podcast I put it in or something.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The alternative context. A question came up asking pair of video game titles the host usually mix up and then sidetracked into generic video game name generator. The title of one that came up for Sean. The title was one that came up for Sean, although Paul proposed War Blood, Blood and War as a better alternative. All right, April 6th. If he's actually dead, that'd be better canon. And I do have a guess for this. Is this Pokemon? Ash dying?
I was gonna guess.
This sounds like Pokemon.
Right. I think I said this.
Yeah, I think so too. Context. The hosts were talking about and praising, the April Fool's game, The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay.
Sean in particular was interested in knowing whether Sonic was actually dead, and that being part of the canonical story. If that were the case, this was his last game. He said he would give it Game of the Year.
I stand by that.
And we know that's not the case. So
it's not, unfortunately.
All right, so one wrong this time so far. April 13th is a hot dog a Ganon, and I don't know. I don't know.
I'm assuming we were just talking about
hot dogs
Ganon
probably
being shown off recently in a recent Zelda trailer, and I think it had something to do with with me being, because I remember seeing the chat being like, wait, someone said a Ganon, like there's multiple Ganons, and that kind of blew our mind, and then we were like, we can't go down this rabbit hole. I think it's something to do with that.
Yeah, and then because everything is a hot dog a thing, that's the meme or whatever, right? Like it's a hot dog again.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know if we actually talked about hot dogs or if that's just for this.
Context. Yeah, you're right. A new Tears of the Kingdom trailer dropped featuring Ganondorf. Sean questioned the entity. If the entity was any different from Ganon, John didn't want to get involved in the rabbit hole discussion. Paul prompted a new weekly section where people would submit questions asking if something was a Ganon.
Oh, okay.
There were 2 alternatives. I'm not going to go through the context for each, but the alternatives for that week was I could easily kill a Cubone with a gun.
Okay. Yeah.
Just talking about Pal World now, or I can't even tell anymore. Is
I don't
Pokemon are real?
I remember us saying that.
No,
but
this
I
was
don't
something
remember
like,
why.
could you win against a fight with a Pokemon? It was a question, but I don't remember.
It's got to be
something
something
like
like that.
It was something like that. And the alternative to number 2 was, at what point is the bone large enough when it's not okay to be put in the garbage? And I don't know.
Oh.
Is this something about...
It's like killing a person?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, when is it not okay to throw a bone away in the garbage because you can throw away chicken bones or something, but like, is a human bone too big? Or, you know what? I gotta read the context. Hold on.
Okay.
A question came up asking what the host would do if they had an elephant, they couldn't give it away or sell it.
Oh, that's right. Were you not there for that, John?
He wasn't here for
I
this
know,
one.
because I remember this now, because I think we talked about, like, why would I want the elephant? And someone was discussing, well, we could just, like, you just kill the elephant, take the meat, or you just get rid of it.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Something like that.
Holy shit. What an episode.
Yeah, because discussion, like, we were like, we couldn't give it away or something
That
like
was
that.
part
We
of
were
the
forced
thing,
to keep it. Yeah.
Yeah. What an episode. Holy crap.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to be gone for the next couple episodes now. I think this is my Ireland trip.
April 20th. It's open to interpretation.
Oh my god.
That's so
that
open.
Could be anything.
I
that
don't
could be
know.
anything.
Actually, I may. This might be me. I don't. But what's the context?
A question came up asking what was the most audacious thing the host would be willing to admit as part of a school assignment. This is your story of a new media thing.
Yep.
You remember it? Turning on a lamp?
Yeah. No. Yeah. My final assignment, I made a absolute bullshit video, and I said it's art.
Yeah.
And I just because I wanted to see if I could get away with it, and I absolutely did.
All right, that was the context for that one. Okay, so you were here. You're gone now, probably though, from the 27th,
Probably, yeah.
April 27th.
Yeah.
I want to see a picture of you with like 3 dongles hanging off your glasses.
That is Sean still here. That is him talking about those augmented reality glasses.
Yep,
Okay.
that's right.
I guess it's the next 2. So
It's probably
first
me
half of
saying that or
May.
Paul. Yeah.
Context, Sean describing new AR. Yeah, it's exactly what we were saying. The alternative title that week was "It's all the same expressions except for one."
I don't know what that is.
That is, oh god, it was like a picture of like all these character expressions for someone. I almost think it was like the Hitman character.
Okay.
And, like all of them were same except for one where he's just like got a weird grin, something like that.
It's. I don't remember this.
I don't remember that. Yeah.
Alternative context was a question came up whether the host would put a photo of one of the other co-hosts on the Facebook of the podcast
Never mind.
for $100.
I mean, surely they wouldn't. That's
Surely.
absurd.
Good news. Good
What
news.
type of moron would agree to that?
It's somewhere here on my desk.
May 4th. Every week I go down the list of people that have wronged me. This was me, I'm
Definitely not
sure.
here. Okay.
But what was it for?
I can't think of the context.
I
but
can't either.
That does sound like something you said.
This is 100% me. Okay, context was a question came up asking if the host, had ever borrowed a game and haven't returned it or vice versa. Yeah. I still remember the names of the people who haven't returned the games I lent them back in
Didn't you
junior
say
high.
him by name?
Both of them, yeah. Peter and Matt, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Pieces of shit. The last one here, May 18th. I see the Flame Dick one pretty much every day. This is Tears of the Kingdom.
I clearly was not here for this one.
I remember
Well,
this
you've been
one.
on Twitter when Zelda came out.
Yep. This is the flame. I see the flame dick one pretty much every day. While talking about Tears of the Kingdom, Paul and Sean discussing how Nintendo allowed many bizarre creations to be made and shared from their timelines. They particularly mentioned crucifixions and a statue of a man with his you-know-what spitting fire.
Yep.
Thank you again for the question, the titles. Always fun.
Rasterman writes, what's a TV series or movie that, under your own personal criteria, is a 10 out of 10?
Oh, shit.
Oh, man.
I'll give
Die
it to...
Hard 1.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Doesn't need to be your favorite. I really liked Breaking Bad. I thought that was fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's hard because I even think of like my favorite shows, and I'm like, I just don't think they're like perfect. Like Scrubs is not perfect. Like they even made 2 more seasons that are terrible at the end of that thing.
Right.
I love Lost. I can't give it 10 out of 10.
TV's weird because they usually have like a season where they flub it. At least. Ted Lasso at one point was a 10 out of 10, and then seasons 2 and 3 happened.
Yeah. Movies might be easier. I'm trying to think if there's anything like that. And like
Spider-Verse is a 10 out of 10 for me. Easy. It's my favorite.
The first one or both of them are?
The first one specifically.
Have you seen the second one yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. That's true. Kick-Ass comes to mind. Although it's been a while since I've seen it, but I really like Kick-Ass.
Kick-Ass got worse every time I watch it, and I watched it a few times, but it's still very good, I think.
Okay. I do also really like that first Avengers movie a whole bunch.
Yeah, it's really good.
That one has a special nostalgic place in my heart.
And it's just like the perfect culmination of that time period and all of them kind of doing the big thing. It's very good still.
Man, when
And
he
it's
says
just
like
not a
that's my
million characters
secret,
they have to cram in.
Scott Pilgrim is very good, that movie. I love that movie.
I don't think I would give 10 out of 10.
I
to
wouldn't
Scott
give that a
Pilgrim.
10 out of 10, but it's definitely a good movie.
That's a
I liked
solid 8.
And I think the
John-
problem with that is like it's the writing of Scott Pilgrim more than the movie.
Fair, yeah.
I also feel the second half of that movie, it feels like rushed.
Sure.
Well, because it
Compared to
didn't
the
have
first
the
one.
ending technically wasn't written at the time, so they kind of made their own sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
true.
that's even fine because like Brian Lee O'Malley worked on it. I feel like the first half of it I really like, but it's almost like crap. We need to get through like 3 more X's. Let's just like haul ass.
Yeah.
Boca writes in and says, "I'm moving again. On the bright side, post move, I'll have my own office for the first time in my life. What are your tips for a first time office haver? Make sure it's not in the same room you sleep in.
Yeah.
Like separate the room you sleep and do other stuff in from your office. Otherwise, you will struggle to get work done. While I have all this here in my office, if I actually want to go game, I leave the room.
Yeah. Totally.
I'm trying to think. Don't clutter up your desk with shit. You don't need to put a bunch of figurines.
That is hard
That's
because if
hard.
you have, like, if you're like me, you have ADHD, your desk is just doomed.
And then you have like a Bowser here, for example.
Yeah, and even I have stuff on it, but I work really hard to be like have a tidy desk.
Totally.
I just try and have a tidy desk. Like cable management, like do it right the first time and then stay on top of it because that's a slippery slope.
Yeah. Yep.
Get some of those like Velcro loops where you can put things together. Like do it, put in the extra effort at the beginning.
Linear cable layout is fantastic that I wish I had done. And now
Right?
it's gone. It's too far
Exactly.
gone
Like
now.
you can't go back from it.
Yeah,
like,
it's done.
absolutely.
The cables will be managed when I pack everything up and move out of this house.
Yeah, I gave up. I definitely have
posture.
a here.
Height. Make sure the monitors are at eye level.
Yeah.
Make sure your desk and everything 90 degrees is your friend.
Get a comfy chair.
Dude.
Actually,
Yeah.
splurge on the chair. Do it. Like
Yep.
splurge on the chair. It is absolutely worth it. They're expensive. They're so expensive.
Yeah.
Splurge on the chair.
If I could like move in for the first time again, I would get a different desk and like one of those risers so I could do standing or sitting because
Oh, okay.
I'm sitting all day at work. I would love to be able to like stand at home and do some stuff and play games or whatever, because goddamn.
When we like started first with work from home from the pandemic, and I was no longer like standing for 2 hours on the train.
Yeah.
I now like stand pretty frequently when I play games in the living room. Just
sure,
to, like,
or just watching
use my legs.
Yeah, totally. I agree with you. Mini fridge.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, well, like
mini
let's
fridge.
that's only if you're super far away from your kitchen. You gotta like
True.
walk to your other rooms at some
Mini
point.
fridges can also be like loud. Like they have a
True,
hum.
they can be. Yeah.
So I don't know if you want that.
Yeah. Phantom Aegis writes, Ahoy TDP crew, a few days ago I had a conversation about video games as a medium for storytelling. It started with a bold statement of a friend discussing that most video game stories are bad. That only the good ones rather, would be better told in other mediums. What do you think of this opinion?
I don't think that's true, simply because the main benefit of games as a medium is that you can play them, you interact with it.
Yeah, the interactive
So you can,
thing.
like,
Yeah. Totally.
Anything where like your actual like involvement kind of changes things or like makes it feel like you're a piece of it, that's special, and that's something like a movie or show cannot do.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's few and far between though.
True.
It is. Yes.
Like, because for example, like, for better or for worse, games, they want to be fun.
Sure.
And some stories aren't fun.
Right.
Then they shouldn't be fun, because that's just that's for the nature of the story, right?
Sure.
So it's like maybe Last of Us, for an example, whether you like the show or not, it's like, is the story better or not because you got to shoot the zombies?
I would argue the gameplay of Last of Us kind of doesn't matter, and it's not the point.
That was the thing. So then wouldn't you say it's better as not as a game?
I mean, I think so.
Maybe.
Because the shooting in that game's kind of bad. Just in general. But, yeah.
Then to go with John's point, like games where it's like the mechanics are like integral, like things that come to mind is like Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons.
Yeah. Brothers, absolutely.
For reasons we can't get into. If people
I was even kind of thinking Shadow of the Colossus in a way.
Sure.
Yeah, and like those games are like pretty rare. So I would almost agree that like, yeah, maybe this would be better somewhere else.
I think it's the the only good ones would be told in other mediums. Like, no, there's great ones that can only be told with you interacting with that world. But maybe it's not.
I don't disagree that there are some stories that are better in like TV or in a movie or like a book. Like most JRPGs you could probably just have as a book.
Right. And I think we're biased in that sense where it's like, hey, this game had a great story and I enjoyed playing it because I like playing video games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the RPG is a good example. It's like whether this, let's say it has a great story and then it had 100 hours of on and off grinding and doing your typical JRPG stuff. If you don't like doing JRPG stuff, you're not going to care for that story, or you're definitely not going to play that game.
Right.
Like I think about my girlfriend. She would probably watch a bunch of cutscenes put in a row because she watches movies with me all the time.
Totally, yeah.
But then when it switched to the gameplay, she gets bored immediately. She doesn't want to even watch that. She doesn't want to do that for the most part.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. There's weird also areas of just like the story that can only be told of your interaction with a thing in a video game. That's kind of more of a meta story that isn't. I don't think it's exactly what they're saying, but that I find pretty important too. Like the story of like me meeting up with like a certain person in like Daisy and the adventure we went on that night before it ended in a weird tragedy or something. Like there are video games that like allow that play.
That's almost role playing.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
The act of interacting is making the story. Like I could say the same kind of thing of like Apex Legends, for example, where it's like this fight we had, there was a narrative because of how the things happened, how the powers came in. Like that created a narrative for the most part, but there is not an actual Apex has a story, but in terms of that fight, there's no story.
But that's a story that can only be told with your interaction of the game. So video game is the medium specifically for your story you're telling, and that's kind of like a different thing in general.
Yeah, I feel like the question's more asking like written story.
Yeah. That's more of a choreography at that point.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it too. Yeah. I think it's me. Yes. Dead writes. Do you ever use the cold storage option on consoles, aka the ability to download and store games on an external hard drive or solid state drive and move them back onto the main drive when you want to play them? Relatedly, how many hot storage games does a console need to be able to store to consider getting a diskless version? For reference, the PS5 is able to store 10 to 15 games for an average gamer at one time.
Well, that clearly that gamer's not playing Call of Duty.
Right. Yeah.
I don't use the cold storage option because I just don't want to like transfer things back and forth.
Same. Yeah.
I try to keep everything on them. My PS5 at one point I had it on some stuff on cold storage, and then it took so long to transfer over I didn't want to play the game anymore.
Yeah.
So I used basically the storage for like, okay, here I can put PS4 games here that I can play. I actually instead put more internal memory into the PS5 so I could just do that instead. So hot storage way better.
I've thought about hooking up one for my Xbox for older stuff, but I'm playing less and less older stuff all the time where it's like I just don't even care enough.
You'll find like digital ones, it works great for those usually. So, or like a digital one, sorry, like digital only ones, like
but for at least for the Xbox to run them off of an external drive, it can't be like a Series Xbox game. Only Xbox One games can do that.
Oh, yeah, because it would default to that. No, never mind. That's weird. I know I've got my storage used for, like, I guess I use my Xbox One to play 360 stuff and, like...
Yeah, so you can do 360 for sure.
That's what I do off of mine.
Yeah. And then for the second one... So how many hot storage games is it? This is hard because, like, I feel like as we progress, games are going to be getting bigger and bigger as well.
Yeah. Like, to put things into perspective, like, I think my PS5, before I put in the extra hard drive, ran out of space when I put, like, 6 disc-based games in it.
The PS5 only has, like, around 700 600 of usable, because it only came with 8 something.
Yeah. And, like, I had, like, the Spider-Man's, Returnal, Guilty Gear... some other like well-known stuff, and it's like, yep, you're already basically out of space. I think if you were lucky enough to get to like 10 or 15 like AAA titles or like just big, which would normally be on a disc kind of based titles, I'd say that's okay.
Yeah,
because
agree.
The average consumer is probably not jumping through that many that fast.
Yeah, totally.
But,
I think that's the key part is like I think of like my Series S that I use when I travel, and it has just like a few games on it. It's not full at the moment, but it's like I'm rarely needing that many games installed. And if I feel like if you're a person where you get to the point where you're like, no, I need access to this number of games, you're probably not looking at the smaller storage console. Like you're probably getting a Series X. You're probably, I guess, for the PS5 modding in a bigger internal drive. Have you run into any of this, Paul? Because I know you have a Series S.
Well, so this is kind of the thing, right? My answer is a terabyte. My main thing is a PC. So like I don't play console generally. I'll play it for the one game and then uninstall it when I'm done. So I'm a weird case in that regard. Like a terabyte's fine for me.
Speaking of a terabyte, Xbox announced a terabyte black version of the Series S is now coming.
Yeah, that's great. That should be there. That's correct.
Yeah.
That's
and also, while we're just talking about Xbox, and specifically Game Pass, because that's probably what's going to be filling up your console, you can play a lot of those games on the cloud, and at least when I've used them, runs super great. So like you don't even need to install them sometimes.
Another thing is too, and I run into this all the time, having everything accessible all at once kind of gives you choice paralysis. So you kind of stop playing new things because you have too many options.
Totally.
So like I have all my games on my Switch, but like I'm like cartridge wise, I'll like only grab like one case of these. So I'm like, okay, that gives me a lower amount to pick from. So like if I have like 500 games to choose from, I'm like, And I spent half my time just figuring out what to play instead.
At least the UI of the Switch is like it's one bar, so you can't
Yeah.
see them all at once compared to like the Xbox where you see like a whole, or Steam, you see a whole list of them.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, you can do that with Switch, and you can make groups and stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
on average, you'll just see the last 12 you did. Suku writes in and says, I was listening to an old podcast, and Nathan said Child of Eden was made for him. Are there any games that you feel were made specifically for you?
Nope.
God damn it! What was the game? Blood Dragon. Yeah, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. That's very, very
I
neat.
can see. Yeah, I can
Okay.
see that.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. Rock Band 4.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
It's just like the biggest one, and that game's like, perfect.
Yeah.
I heard Rockman 4. I'm like, Mega Man? Like, oh, that's why I was really confused for a second. I'm like, Sean hates that.
Yeah,
Sure.
no, Rock Band.
Yeah. VGC Kenny writes, as this was probably discussed in the news, it wasn't. There may be a Legend of Zelda movie in the works. This brings up a
there
few.
was a. Sorry,
Oh.
you go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I'll talk about it later.
Okay. This brings up a few interesting questions. First, since The Legend of Zelda games have a story that is not told in order, where do you start? Zelda 1 because it's the first game, Skyward Sword because it's considered the first chronologically, Breath of the Wild to get in on the new hotness. Second, since the story is told through many different points in time, do you get new actors to play Link and Zelda for each time shift? Do you do the same for Ganon and or Ganondorf or not? Since, if I'm understanding things correctly, he's the same throughout. Which questions and
Wait,
which
what?
actors for which Links and Zeldas? Third, just for fun, which Mario character would you like to cameo in a possible Zelda movie? Sorry, it's a lot, I know, but it's something to think about.
All right, what I was going to say was there was rumors about that, and then I think someone from Illumination was like, "Yeah, we don't know where that rumor came from."
I think I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
funny.
that was today. I think that dropped. So. But to answer the first question, yeah, like where do you start? You either start literally with the first game, or you start with the most popular, which would be probably Ocarina. And honestly, it's probably Ocarina.
It's probably Ocarina.
Or you make your own.
That's
Because
what I
it's a
think they
movie.
do.
You can do
Yeah.
whatever you want. And I think that's
they
the same.
do. I think they
too.
do a new thing.
They
but
do their own, and they borrow elements from the other games.
Yeah, they hit kind of the big notes you're going to expect, and I feel like a lot of those notes are going to be kind of from Ocarina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they just make their own for it to make sense, and then they do a lot of like top 40 songs. This was a tweet I saw. The Rock voices Ganon, and while the Ganon, not Ganon. He voices a Goron, and then all the Gorons are mining to Queen's "We Will Rock You."
Oh,
God,
And,
I hate this. I can see this. I hate
because
it.
it's too true, right?
It's too
because
true.
it's too true.
They are like minor singing it. Like they are like
Yeah.
doing it like the Seven Dwarves.
Yeah.
Like that's their
Absolutely.
hi ho. It's like we will rock you.
yeah.
Yep, and they're picking at like dun dun ch. Like
Yeah.
that's gonna happen, unfortunately, and that's
Fuck.
Yep.
Fuck this. I'm so mad and this doesn't even exist.
it's I hate it because it's too true.
Ugh.
It says go bold based on Majora's Mask. There's absolutely no way they would ever do that.
No
No.
way.
That'd be awesome, but they never will.
That's like the college student's art project version of the movie. Going all weird and artsy with it.
They also asked like, who do you get to play the stuff, right? Or which
Like,
actors?
so
Link
like,
and
yeah,
Zelda?
do you get new actors to play Link and Zelda for each time shift? And I think the answer is yes, because like while they are the same souls, physically they're different every time.
I don't think they do live action. I think they just make it animated.
I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be another Illumination style movie. Yeah.
And then if you are gonna make another one, I think they would just make it like Zelda 2. They would keep the same animation. I can't see them doing like. They would do a continuation, I think. I don't think they would do like a kind of a reboot like all the Zeldas are kind of for the most part.
Yeah.
That would be cool if they like rebooted it every time and then you got like the Wind Waker art style. Like, that would be cool. I think they would
Yeah.
just continue it though because people would come to it expecting, wait, why does my Link look different now?
That would also save development time.
Totally.
Sure. Yep. And Hebrew Lantern writes, how long did it take you to feel like you fit in at a new job?
Weeks.
After training, like 2 weeks probably. Like after I knew what I was doing, probably a couple weeks. Not too long.
Yeah. Once you get into a routine and you get a coworker that you can chat with, you're in.
I was gonna say like a week.
Yeah, sure.
Probably a week.
As long as it takes you to like find. Well, I don't know. I guess it depends how much you talk to people, because like I don't.
And it depends on the nature of the job.
Yeah, I think that. Like, I think once you become a bit self-sufficient.
Exactly. Yeah.
Where you don't need
if you're working like a
someone.
cubicle job, like it can take a while, but if you're working like retail, you kind of have to grab it like quick.
Sure. Yeah.
Like usually retail is like much more routine, much faster to get into that kind of groove for it. We missed a part with Kenny's question too. For fun, which Mario character would you like to cameo in a possible Zelda movie?
Oh, Toad.
You think they do Toad? Is Toad big enough though?
Bowser. Bowser would be the most logical cameo because he's basically a giant monster.
Bowser would be interesting, yeah.
But I still want to be Jack Black Bowser, so it just feels like Whiplash.
I feel like Bowser would be like too important. Like it's got to be somewhere in the middle, like a Donkey Kong.
Oh, Seth Rogen's back. God damn it.
Did you guys see the Mario movie?
Yeah.
Not yet, but it's out on Blu-ray now, so I can get it.
It is out on Blu-ray, yep. All right, that's going to do it for questions. If you want to send questions for next week, topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. What is your game of the week?
Diablo 4.
Across.
Okay. And, oh, man. I'll give it to Diablo 4. That's so then I don't have to pick something from the show. I'm playing Diablo 4 right now. So
okay.
Nice.
All right, we will see you guys next week. Goodbye.
Bye.